My name is Alex Mans. I'm the founder and CEO of Flyr. We're excited to showcase our revenue operating system that is already managing billions of dollars worth of revenue at major airlines across the globe. Artificial intelligence and its ability to leverage more data is changing business models, pushing industry boundaries, and redefining where companies focus their innovation. Yet at airlines, traditional forecasting and pricing solutions only consider a fraction of the critical commercial information available, relying on analysts to subjectively evaluate and direct strategies. Data is still treated as an undervalued afterthought. Airlines that recognize and embrace the power of artificial intelligence, they will be the ones that reap the benefits. While this might sound like a massive undertaking, we're on a mission at Flyr to simplify the adoption of such technologies and to form a deep partnership with the industry. When we set out on this journey, we approached the problem from a clean sheet of paper and aimed to develop a product that was purpose-built to solve it. Our data management platform enables us to connect, ingest, map, and transform dozens of internal and external commercial data sources that are used by our AI. Our AI-based forecasting and pricing components achieve unprecedented accuracy and revenue uplift, in essence, by understanding how different airports, routes, departure times, or competitor presence relate to each other and how they contextually relate to the airline's network. We can make such ultra-confident forecast and pricing decisions, even for itineraries that by themselves show very little signal, or itineraries that are extremely volatile. Lastly, our integrated suite of reporting and intelligence tools enable a symbiotic relationship between the human analyst and the automation, leveraging each one where they are the strongest. Next, I'd like to introduce John. John, you've spent years at American Airlines and NBC Universal, and we would love your views on how we are impacting revenue management and forecasting.
Thank you, Alex. I think to understand the Flyr value proposition, first we need to consider the limitations of the legacy systems in place at many airlines today, and the challenges these limitations present to the revenue management analysts as a result. These systems are built on top of a demand forecast utilizing historical bookings data that is cut up into discrete segments of demand space, each discrete segment having an independent forecast. This limits the number of features and the types of data that can be used to generate that forecast and the subsequent pricing and availability decisions. There are other important factors missing. Factors such as the capacity of the airline or competing airlines in a market, the ever-changing competitive pricing environment, events that shift from location to location year after year. Analysts are forced to fill these gaps in these legacy systems. They spend a lot of their time influencing and making corrections to the forecasted demand. Flyr's deep learning solution, in contrast, is more data efficient and is able to directly incorporate this additional data into the price optimization and the forecasts. And the neural networks can better contextualize across market, day of week, season, and other features. Analysts' time is freed up to focus on more impactful, strategic revenue decisions. With that, I'd like to introduce you to Matt. Matt's going to talk to us about some of the results we're driving with our airline partners.
Thanks, John. As I talk with analysts at our airline partners, there's a clear and recurring theme about how our technology is helping them do their jobs better, while also keeping them in the loop to make the most important decisions. This is just the beginning of the results we're driving with our customers. Today, I'm able to share some specific results that our airline customers are experiencing by incorporating Flyr technology. In less than 6 months, using Flyr's revenue operating system, we're consistently demonstrating 7% revenue uplift, a 4-point increase in load factor, and when forecasting the final revenue at departure 60 days prior, we typically see 6.5 times forecast error reduction. Further, we're seeing a 90% reduction in flights in which an analyst has had to influence. In a few minutes, we're going to hear directly from the executive team at our customer, Air New Zealand, on their specific experience at Flyr. At this time, I'd like to introduce Rob. Rob, during your 13 years at Southwest Airlines in revenue management, I'm sure you've had several battle scars from implementing new technology. Can you share a little bit about what we're doing different at Flyr to improve deployment process and accelerate time to value?
I sure can. Thanks, Matt. Yes, I have firsthand knowledge of the efforts typically required to change revenue management technologies. First, we start with loading historical data into the system. We've established a streamlined data load process to ensure we understand each airline's data structure, the context of that data, and validate its completeness. The second step in our implementation journey is to train and validate the AI model using airlines' data. Our data scientists will ensure that models are finely tuned based on an airline's commercial and operational strategies. We will share model outputs well in advance of turning the system live in order to ensure forecast and decision quality. Additionally, analysts will be trained and familiarized with our user interface well ahead of launch. It's important to note here that Flyr is launching a full production system that's optimizing an airline's entire network and exporting AUs, bid prices, and reference fares.
I want to also add that we don't expect our customers to deploy our solution blindly. We do extensive comparative analysis to build confidence in the forecasts and the pricing outputs before we launch into production.
And John, we are so confident in our performance that we offer our airline partners a no-cost, no-risk guarantee. In other words, we don't require upfront investment to install our production system. And if it's not achieving the results expected, our customers are free to cancel. Further, we offer the revenue operating system as a software as a service offering. That's dramatically different than traditional offerings that have a high license fee, heavy professional services, and maintenance costs. All of those elements are included in one simple subscription that also includes regular feature enhancements to the product. And we've established a customer council to provide feedback and input to inform our product roadmap. This makes sure that we're always building the most important tools that our customers need.
Joining us today from Auckland, New Zealand, Greg Foran, the CEO of Air New Zealand. Greg and team, welcome to the conversation. Thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure to be here.
Great, so let's dive straight in. It was a difficult time for airlines, and you've certainly got a lot on your mind as you contemplate the future of Air New Zealand. As airlines adapt to the COVID-19 environment and what follows, what role do you see technologies play at your airline to enable or enhance your recovery?
Look, I think it's absolutely critical, and I often use the phrase, and I'm sure I picked it up from someone else, that information, data is really the new oil in terms of how we're going to operate. You know, one of the things that digitization allows us to do is not only to collect lots of data, but to store it much more cheaply than we ever have been able to in the past. And then when you can get the right data scientists working with you to interpret that, I think the world changes enormously, and that's what I'm excited about. I'm excited about that for Air New Zealand, and I think COVID has enhanced the speed of this revolution.
Can you speak a little bit about the value of forecasting and the value of using intelligent pricing to service more customers or previously untapped customers, and how you see us jointly expand on that forecasting and pricing intelligence in the near future?
Sure. You know, look, I've been thrilled with how this trial has gained momentum, literally month by month, and, you know, the speed at which we've been able to roll this out. And that speed is the result of, you know, what we're seeing in terms of implementing this particular setup with you. You're right, it's providing better forecasting. It's allowing us to actually reduce the price for customers over the total cost of that flight. So you get the win for the customer, you get the win for us in terms of just better forecasting of everything. And, you know, I'm just absolutely thrilled.
How would you like to see that collaboration evolve and that exchange of knowledge over time?
Any business that I see anywhere in the world, not just airlines, requires great data scientists, people that are able to take this, interpret it, and then drive towards this competitive advantage that I've spoken about. And then if we can actually get this partnership going even deeper with yourselves, what we actually get is 1 + 1 = 3. So I'm excited about where this is going to go. I do believe that this is the future, and one that, you know, I'm proud to be part of and proud to be working with you on.
Mike, first to you. Tell us a bit more about why you elected to work with Flyr and why you elected to leverage Flyr to provide a layer of AI technology to help drive forecasting and pricing performance.
Thanks, Alex. Look, I think it's really important for the airline, for Air New Zealand, to work with partners that can bring a combination of good airline experience and knowledge, but also introduce us and push us into new areas, in particular with artificial intelligence, machine learning, to try and improve what we're already doing. So that was one of the first reasons. And then I think beyond that, working with a partner that's like-minded, looking for innovation, that we can actually work with to implement things quite rapidly, that was important to us. And yourselves at Flyr, that you tick the box, so it's been a great partnership.
Mike, if I could add a little bit more to that. So in addition to being innovative, what were some goals and expected results that you had when you decided to implement Flyr?
We wanted to start really from a customer perspective, thinking about what we could do to create better customer outcomes. So first of all, for us, it was keeping that at the front and center of everything. So thinking about how can we, with our existing network, enable more customers to travel around New Zealand? How can we help more of the world connect with New Zealand and more New Zealanders to connect with the world? Beyond that, I think it's important that we look for ways to simplify. And within the commercial team at Air New Zealand, we've developed over the years quite a few tools and methods in-house that helped us to perform the revenue management tasks. But it was time for us to take a new look at that and think about how we can really consolidate some of those into a single platform as much as possible.
Customer experience, simplification, and then enabling analyst productivity. To date, how has our revenue operating system performed against what you just outlined as your expectations?
Yeah, well, we've been really pleased, actually. I think from a customer experience perspective, one of the things that I'm really pleased about, and I think Ian and the rest of the team are pleased about, is the fact that we're able to carry more passengers. So we're able to sell more fares, more low fares, increase our load factor, and benefit through that respect. I think secondly, we're spending less time needing to work the forecast, to manage the forecast, and focus the time that we do have on the flights that deserve most of our attention. And I think that's all possible because the demand forecast is very accurate. We've been very pleased with how accurate that's been, and that's really allowed us to unlock those other benefits that we've spoken about. And ultimately that does flow through into revenue benefits for us, and as you'd expect, we've seen some quite pleasing revenue results as an outcome of all of that.
Great. Ian, got a question for you on how have you and your colleagues adapted and managed the change of implementing this new AI tool?
With Flyr, we've been able to get really accurate forecasts of our flights, and it means that it's unlocked our analysts to be able to spend less time worrying about a forecast and actually taking action in a COVID world of what that means. So it means that my team can go to the networks team and talk about demand forecasting with confidence and what needs to change with a schedule to make that a better result.
Can you speak a little bit more about, one, your experience of working under such a partnership structure, and two, how that experience has informed your aspirations for what's next under such a partnership?
The scope's so huge. I think going to your point about this is really a revenue operating system, and it's no longer thinking about revenue management maybe the way that we have in the past, where it's just about optimizing what's in front of us. It's unlocking so many other conversations across the business. You know, to Ian's point about how do we work better with our sales colleagues to think through promotional or marketing opportunities, with networks to unlock what new capacity growth opportunities may there be. On cargo, how do we make sure that we're maximizing the returns from that cargo space that we're carrying. And that's just a few, and there's many more. So going forward, we're quite hopeful that what we've established to date is just the beginning, and we can start to think about how we can leverage what's already in front of us into those new areas.
The status quo of airline forecasting and pricing is no more. At Flyr, we approached the problem from a clean sheet of paper and designed a solution that was purpose-built to solve that problem. We are data scientists and engineers, first and foremost, and AI is not just a buzzword to us. It is at the very core of everything we do and who we are. Our proven approach, centered around data, forecasting, pricing, and intelligent reporting, is driving huge returns for our airline partners. We are pioneering a no-risk software-as-a-service model that reduces costs and maximizes and guarantees returns to our customer base. Our team would love to work implementing our solutions at your airline. Visit flyrlabs.com for more information.